What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Weekly Chime. Today we've got Ryan with Revaluate. We're going to be talking about building a moat around your database. I'm really excited about this one because I am married to a princess. She loves castles, and moats need to be built around those. So, Ryan, let's chat a little bit about building this moat around the database.
Absolutely.
Let's first talk with who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so Ryan Dendievel, I'm the VP of Business Development and Strategic Partnerships with Revaluate, and we are predictive analytics, big data, machine learning, buzzword bingo kind of, but we're in the business of helping people to monetize their database and increase their lead conversion efforts. So I manage our relationships with our channel partnerships, Chime being one of them, and I get to work with some of the biggest teams in the country on how to implement what we do in their tech stacks and their systems.
Awesome. That's like the best intro I've heard on one of these. So clean, concise, to the point. I love it. I want to dive into the nitty gritty. So I don't have Tristan here. Usually Tristan is here to like kind of help me fill in and like we fill in together. But I'm more of a dude, you're in my world, right? Data is my world. And it's something that I am truly passionate about. So I want to skip right into, where do you see the biggest problems with leads in real estate, and how can agents essentially fix those problems?
Sure. Yeah, no, that's good. So being in the data world, we deal in statistics a lot. And so I pulled some, in preparation for this conversation, pulled some statistics from NAR that just are glaring statistics that we all hear all the time, but that just should make you shudder every time you do hear some of them. I mean, for starters, when it comes to leads, everybody's all about generating leads or buying leads or however they're doing it. Yet everybody is usually in the 4 to 20% at best conversion rate with those leads. And so you're paying all this money for 96% of that money to be sunk cost that's not going to go anywhere, which then begs the question of, okay, so what are the rest of those people selling or buying from or with, or who are they working with? And according to NAR statistics, they did a survey. They say there are 90% of sellers would definitely use the same agent again after the last transaction. 68% of those sellers who use a real estate agent that they found through a referral by a friend or a family member, and only 53% of them actually used the agent they previously worked with to buy or sell a home. That's a huge difference.
It's so funny that you say that, because I'm literally like, those are new statistics too. And the really crazy part about this, Ryan, we've gotten worse. Like, yeah. Did you look at the old statistics on that? It used to be 68% of people use the same agent they previously worked with. We've gotten worse. And truthfully, a lot of that has to do with distraction, right? There's much more distraction in the marketplace than there was prior. But continue on, because I know you have more stats. So I'm gonna step back a little bit. I always think those numbers are fascinating. When people go, well, I want more leads. Well, why don't you follow up with the ones you have? And why don't you stay in front of the people that you've already done a deal with?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Continue, because I know you have more.
And then they say 82% of recent sellers only spoke with one agent before choosing the person that they worked with. So if you mash all those together, it becomes really clear that it's super important to be the first to the table at the moment that they're trying to decide on who they're going to work with. And so that's the whole concept of building a moat around your database. I can't take credit for the terminology or the imagery. I stole it from Tom Ferry. I saw him say it in a webinar, and I was like, that is awesome, because that's literally what someone running a business should do. And so not being transactional, but actually building your business so that you have repeat business at a better rate than 53% is really what we're hoping to help people achieve.
I think so. My big thing that I love to push is cost per closing. And everybody kind of looks at me funny when I say that. And I genuinely, I mean this when I say this. Yes, we are mostly organic leads, all organic leads at this point. But before, we used to spend a lot of money on leads. And one of the things was, when we'd spend money on leads, people could not wrap their head around the fact that I didn't care what a lead cost me. I see people like, I want dollar leads. I want 50-cent leads. I don't care if it's $4,000 leads. I don't care. And the reason I don't care is because If we build a moat around our past client database, guess what happens? Our cost per closing comes down. We get multiple transactions out of them. We start working sphere of influence with them. We get referrals out of them. We get multiple transactions. So when we talk about building the database, who do you put in that database? Like, what's step one?
Yeah, and I think you really nailed it there, is like everyone, right? Like you start your database, like if you really think about it, there is a finite number of people living in your market. So your database there's a limit to how large your database can grow if you only work in one market. Now that limit's going to be different for every person based on their market, but there's with putting them in, there's segmentation on lowest hanging fruit. Obviously, your sphere of influence, your past clients are going to be the easiest people to convert because they know, like, and trust you, presumably, especially if 90% of people would work with the same agent again. Most people who are giving a good experience are going to have that come back to them if they're in the right place at the right time. But you can't just focus on them if you want to grow the business. So you got to have all those old leads, that 96% that didn't convert the first time around. Those are opportunities at the right time with the right message. So once you have them in your database, you want to keep them in your ecosystem. And then the hardest of them all is the literal cold calling or door knocking and the geo farming. But there's opportunity there too, because anybody who's going to move is an opportunity. And so anyone who could potentially be an opportunity should be in your database, and then you just have to prioritize and make sure that you defend that database by leveraging your systems, which is really the next step after you identify who goes in, right?
That is, I'm glad you went there with that, because that's where I was going next. Okay, so we have all of these leads that are in our database now. Sphere of influence, old leads, geofarm, all that stuff. All of those people are in there. Okay, what do you do then? What would you say an agent needs to do to defend that? I just get this great visual of, like, on top of this castle of like leads, you just have like just a bunch of like howitzers just sitting up there. What do you do to defend your database?
Yeah, I mean, if you're on this webinar, chances are you've taken the first step, which is having a system that allows you to build automations around that database. I mean, Chime's a super robust system. That's why when we first partnered with Chime a year ago, I was really excited to see what people were going to be able to leverage with what we do, because between the AI chatbot and drip campaigns and retargeting and the website and everything that Chime allows you to do, you can take all of that and target the people within your database so that you're not worrying about, once you get the database large enough, then you just need to cultivate that database. The one last statistic I'll bore all the non-numbers people with here is that for 41% of buyers, the first step they took in the home buying process was to look online at properties for sale. That means that it's super important for your Chime site to be where they go to look for those properties if you want to defend your database. The way that you do that is by making sure that you're always top of mind with them, at least at the time when it's most important, which is when they're making that decision to start their process of looking for homes.
Yeah, could not agree more with that. I see so many people that want to send just email after email after email, like newsletter. I don't send newsletters. I the only thing that I send through my Chime site, I send property drips. That's it. That's all I send. Yeah, smart plans. They get some smart plans through it as well. But for the most part, the only thing they're getting is relevant information that is educational, that is going to drive them back to my website. Because once they come back to my website, guess what they keep doing? They keep coming back and coming back and coming back. And it keeps me top of mind. But I know that you guys do something actually, and it was kind of funny because you and I had talked at one point, and I really want to implement you, by the way. I want you guys on my site so badly because I know you guys do this little fun feature, and a column appears inside the Chime CRM. By the way, totally forgot that existed until I logged into somebody else's Chime site the other day, and I'm like, what the heck is this Revaluate score? And then I went down like this rabbit hole. Tell me more about the Revaluate score and how you guys integrate with Chime, because it's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, so Chime has their lead scoring function within Chime, and it does a really good job of tracking engagement with hosted material, right? They click on your site, they go open your emails, they respond to the AI, and that raises the score. And they do a really, really good job of tracking inside their ecosystem. What we are really good at is tracking out in the wild. And so we go from an email address, we are able to monitor a combination of social, search, spend, and public record data. And we monitor that data for life event indicators. We call them the data Ds, right? Death, divorce, diapers, diamonds, diplomas, downsizing. The list can go on and on. But
Okay, that was good.
They're the things that have always represented someone needing to make a move. And so we take all this data from all these different places, like, this person bought some diapers on Amazon and they registered for a gift registry at buybuybaby.com, and they live in a 2-bedroom house and they have 3 kids already. And all that kind of goes into our machine learning algorithms that say, okay, newborn on the way, outgrown their home, this person might have to move. And we crunch it down into a raw score 0 to 100 for ease of understanding and actionability. So that column that you were referencing, that column represents 0 to 100, how likely someone is to move within a 6-month window. And so the bonus there, so we use a threshold of 80 and above. Those are what we call very likely movers for our clients. And that allows you to really just hone in on the people that are most likely to be receptive to your messaging. But the awesome thing about a system like Chime is that really fortifying your database and defending it isn't just going after the low-hanging fruit. It's setting up automations and systems to nurture them to stay top of mind, to kind of really get squeeze all the juice, right? Because they've got referrals when they're not moving. And so we give the entire 0 to 100, and then our most successful clients use that as if-then triggers to implement different phases in their sales and marketing funnels.
Absolutely.
Like the most automated stuff for the lower numbers so that you're still top of mind, you're still in their world. And then you get more assertive, more call to action-y as their score goes up. And you leveraging Chime and the fact that we push that score right into Chime, you can automate so much of that process, freeing up more time for you to be focused on revenue generating activity.
Absolutely. It's funny that you bring that up, and because I see a lot of people that'll say, well, I mean, how good is your data? How do people really know how accurate is it if they're really moving? I want to give you guys all a really real live example here. Okay. So I am moving, and I have known I've been moving for probably about 2.5, 3 months. But here's the thing that I learned during this process. The diamond Ds, as you call them. Yeah. By the way, that all comes forward and you start seeing things. So first of all, we are expecting a kid as well. And so
congratulations.
Thank you. But people have started like advertisers, like they start recognizing that. So the big data that is out there, as soon as you start, like you're saying, as soon as you start looking for baby anything, guess what starts happening? Now you start getting ads everywhere for baby stuff. As soon as you bring up the fact that, you have like I'm on a background, but I have like a tape gun out here. I ordered moving packing tape. Guess what started happening after that? I started getting other companies reaching out to me like, hey, you're thinking about moving. Do you need moving services? So
U-Haul.
Exactly. U-Haul, Mayflower, all the big ones all started reaching out. Like, did you need anything? Like, you did? So my point is, the big data is out there. And it's remarkable what can be done with that kind of data. Now, imagine if you knew 4 months before someone started moving that they were going to be doing something. And that's the kind of data that you're talking about providing, which is phenomenal. And especially at lead score, if you can basically take your Revaluate score and then live off of the high movers, that's a no-brainer, man. That's like shooting fish in a barrel. Like, that's almost cheating.
Well, and if you're not, the problem people are going to find out really soon is that other people are. And so it's cheating now for the early adopters because it's going to be every day within the next handful of years. I mean,
exactly.
The big guys are already doing this. And so we're really big on bringing that same level of dependability and accuracy, taking the sniper approach to the agent level rather than just having it in the big tech people's hands as well.
How difficult is it if someone wants to, okay, I want to sign up with you guys. I mean, obviously I know the value of what you guys bring, right? So I am your best client is probably sitting right here. We have an insanely large database. We cannot stay in front of everybody at all times. Any form of leg up that we can get to sort through millions of leads is a big deal. And so I look at something like this and I go, okay, for someone to sign up for this, What's the process? What does that look like?
It's super simple with Chime and it's about to be super simpler. So I'm working with Chime's dev team. They're going to make it a push button sign up. Right now it's not, but that's the next phase will be that easy. But as of right now, whether it's me or someone on Chime's team would create you an account in our dashboard, copy paste your API key into our system, and the rest of it happens automatically. So we pull the context directly out of Chime, we do a quick data detox when we do that to deduplicate, get rid of like Mickey Mouse or profanity or info ats. Does a decent job of getting rid of other industry professionals, people that aren't potential opportunities for you. We don't want you monitoring or cluttering up your database with those people. We don't delete them from Chime. Chime's your master list, but on our side, we kind of put them off to the side so you're not paying for it. And then it takes about 48 hours from the initial import for the scores to kind of normalize. And then we return them right back into Chime every night. We update the scores every day in the overnight hours so that it's not like slowing anything down on you when you're trying to run your business, but we push any new scores in automatically. And it's, our mission is to take your static kind of contact driven database and transition it into more of a dynamic, living, breathing database that gains new insights passively every day as you go down the road.
Right. It's funny because I see so many people in the Chime group that are always saying like, I don't know who to follow up with. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. Okay. I don't think, if I haven't made this really clear yet, this is what you do. You find out who's doing stuff and you have a reason to reach out to them. Hey, who's active on your site? Who's actively looking like they're about to move? Stay in front of them. I mean, literally, I cannot say this again. This is cheating. Like, this is real estate, but you've basically just taken and been like, hey, by the way, here's like the cheat codes. It's like playing a video game and you've just given everybody a cheat code. That's awesome, man.
You mentioned the other companies and other industries out there that use this data. Are you familiar with the Target story?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
It's a super popular story in my circles because of what we do. But Target was getting into targeted advertising, and they get so much data from your purchase data. They probably purchase like credit card data as well on top of that. But they identified that like people who buy this particular lotion with these particular whatevers are pregnant or tend to be pregnant. And so they set up a campaign where they sent out mailers for coupons for diapers and baby stuff. And their automation sent one of those ads out to like a 14-year-old girl in high school, and it got to her house and her dad got it and was like freaking out and called them all mad. Like, why would you send my daughter this stuff? Well, come to find out that, she actually was pregnant. She hadn't told her dad yet. And, it was kind of a oopsie on their part, but it was an oopsie on their part because they weren't trying to get her in any trouble. But the fact of the matter is, data tells a story oftentimes before we're comfortable sharing that story with the real world, or before we've even made decisions that data is going to push us towards. And so that's where our goal is to get you first to the table so that you can be present and then stay present while they're walking through that decision-making process.
And I can't even stress that enough. I mean, because really, when you think about it, where people's first actions when they're thinking about moving, I'm going to use military as a great example on this one. Military personnel, they don't necessarily know that they're going to be moving until literally one day they're like, this might be a possibility. Like, these are like the 4 areas we might move to. It's coming. And then what do? They start searching about the areas. They start researching the areas. They start putting out feelers on things. They start trying to figure out what's next. And then when they get the final word, they're not talking to anybody yet. But if you could be that person that they're in your database and it's like, hey, hello, reach out to this person, that will help a lot. So I would ask you pricing. If you want to go over it, we can go over it. If you don't, reach out to Ryan. He can help you out with that. But I've seen your pricing before, and it's to the point where I look at it and go, to be first to the table, I don't care what it costs. I mean, being honest, if you're first to the table, like, think about how much less competition you'd have. So If you want to talk pricing, I'm happy to do it. If you just want people to reach out to you, we can have them do that too. It's your call.
Well, the good news about pricing too is that with the relationship and the partnership with Chime, Chime's negotiated special pricing for Chime clients. And the other advantage is that all of the billing is run directly through Chime. So we're not another bill you have to remember or anything
No kidding.
Along those lines. It just shows up as a line item on your Chime bill and it gets billed straight through Chime.
Okay.
Currently it's close to 50% off our normal retail rate.
Okay.
And it works out to in the neighborhood of $50 per 1,000 contacts per month.
That's like dirt cheap. Like how?
Like what? 5 cents a contact, or
yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that's about 5 cents a contact. Like that's ridiculously cheap. For people that basically anybody that has any form of database at all, and truthfully, in my eyes, I look at this. When I started my business back in 2015, I didn't know anybody in my area. I had no sphere of influence. So I had nothing. If you are in an area where you have a sphere of influence, you have friends, family, you have a circle, if you would, of clients. If you have that, this kind of data is priceless. It's funny because so the other night, Aurora, my wife, I had her go through and look at like past clients. And it was a painful exercise. And I'm gonna tell anybody that if you are debating whether or not you should go with a service like Revaluate, I'm gonna challenge you all to do something. I want you to look up every single sale you did in the last 5 years. I want you to click on every one of those houses that you sold to a client in the last 5 years. And I want you to calculate how much commission you lost because they listed with somebody else. And I'm going to tell you a number that is going to scare the living crap out of you. $333,000. That's how much Aurora left on the table because she didn't stay in touch. Yeah, I gave her a lot of crap last night for that. $333,000 in commission. That's how many people sold and didn't use her. So if we had Revaluate, which by the way, we're going to be talking to you later this week because that was a number that was very hard to swallow. If you could go through and you look and you go, hey man, I lost 4 commissions in the last year because I didn't stay in touch with my sphere. Guess what? This is more than worth it. If you lost 1 sale in the last year, this is worth it because you need to stay in front of people. Ryan, I got so much out of this, man. If anybody wants to reach out to you and get more information, how do they get in front of you?
My email is ryan@revaluate.com, nice and easy. Our website is revaluate.com. If you want to check out anything on there. And then if you reach out to the people at Chimes, some of them can help you get signed up on their own. Some of them will just redirect you to me. So one way or the other, we can definitely help out anyone interested. Email me or come to our website and schedule a conversation that way.
Yeah, I think this is something that, there's very few times on these weekly chimes that I'm like, this is a product you need. This is a product you need. This is something that, like, personally, I'm looking into after last night's conversation. But truthfully, though, you said there's a one-click integration that's coming soon?
Yep. I'm not sure the timeline on it, but I've been working with the team to put it all together. And so that there's also some really cool, exciting updates coming. My goal is to make sure that in very short order, our score will be able to function on its own as a trigger within Chime's system. Right now, you have to do some clever tagging a little bit to automate stuff around the score. But the next phase rollout is to allow that score either by way of tag or by way of custom field to function as a trigger for all the automations and smart plans and stuff. So,
okay, so that's even cooler. So you're saying that eventually, like coming soonish, it is going to be able to say like a Revaluate score of, let's say, 80 or greater. And it's going to be able to trigger a smart plan that you can basically have built out to stay in front of your audience and be first at the table. Yeah, Ryan, we're chatting. Like you and I are going to be chatting very, very, very soon. Like I'm probably going to call you after this webinar.
Perfect.
This is something that I think everybody should. Adam just commented. Adam is watching in the background. Basically, Adam said, when you get Revaluate, use Zapier to update the lead with a tag and then move them into a group. And you can also add them to a custom audience for Facebook retargeting. Dude, I got so much out of this. Thank you for your time. I really, really appreciate it. if anybody is considering this seriously, Adam has 8 people under contract this year using that exact method. Folks, this works. I'm a huge fan. Ryan, I am so glad we got a chat. You and I need to hang out. Clearly, you have a good taste in music. So if anybody has any questions, reach out to Ryan. Thank you again for your time today, man. It was really great getting to know you.
Absolutely.
Take care, guys. See ya.